another, it's when we measure the important things. I'm going to take this back to the classroom just for a minute. This morning I was reading Education Week. It comes through on the email every day, the little tidbits. And it was on, one article was on grading practices, and it was showing how soft the grading practices were in 2020, 2021 because of COVID. And then there was something at the end that basically said, grades are important, and we need to do something to build consistency of those practices. I got my doctoral degree, finished it in 1992. And my dissertation was on high school grading practices and the definition and the meaning and the value of high school grading practices. And I went back and one of the at the end it basically, there was a recommendation that we should study how consistent measures are across teachers of grades. And I'm like, my God, this is like 4 decades like now that we're in the same the same thing. And so I went back and I couldn't help it. I just sent the article that was published in 1994 from the dissertation to the Education Week person. And it was a case study of interviewing kids, high school students, parents, and teachers. And I sent that back, sent it to her and said, I don't know if you think this is important, but I did this study off of Rick Stiggins. Rick Stiggins and I worked together to basically do the study on high school grading practices, and it just kind of hit me in a different way. But my point is back to measurement. It's so hard to do because if we're really looking at a grade, if we're looking at a measure and we're looking at a grade, one grade, an A, B, C, D, or F, if it means anything, can only represent one thing. And so what we think of when we look at a grade is we think a grade represents achievement. But we know, all of us, that that's not true. It represents our perception of a student's cognitive ability, because we're going to judge that as we're giving those grades. It represents effort. It represents if you turn in your homework or not. In other words, there are multiple variables within that one grade. And so when we get down to interpreting those grades, the measure is really flawed, right? Now, that doesn't mean we're not doing them anymore, right? Because we've had grades. But my point in saying that is that's how difficult measurement is, because it's really difficult to separate the humanness from a measure, which I land on. You have to excuse me for this, but I land on the side, that's why we need tests, because we have to have some assessment to separate ourselves from the humanness. My point in that is when we're measuring and setting those measures, the transparency and the facing the brutal facts of those measures, those things are really important to us if we're really going to be serious about judging how well we're doing something or not, and then having discussions around those measures that build meaning in what we're doing. Measures are only as good as humans make them, right? And that's our challenge as leaders, is to me, I'm being opinionated today, I'm sorry, but to me, it's not working against measures. It's helping people understand them in ways that we can apply them to help us get better at what we do and to have discussions. Same with surveys. Oh, you heard me say it, what's right in education. It's not the number that's most important in the connection to the survey items. We use that number so that we can differentiate between where we're doing well and where we're not doing well, because that's the only way we can do that. But it's the way that we attach the language to the number to have conversations about that question that's most important in the way we improve. So without measures, if we have nothing. But with measures and the right conversations and the right connections, we have everything to move toward when we're determining how well we're doing or not, and where we make those adjustments.